その程度か。覚悟しろ。ふっはっへっ。
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Here we are with one of my favorite characters thus far in the game of Honkai Star Rail, and that is none other than Luocha. He appears in the Shan Show, much like Jing Huan and Xu Shang, and so he is one of the other healers in the game. Arguably the best thus far in the game. Just his healing abilities are just incredible, but we'll get into that very soon. So, of course, Luocha is part of the imaginary damage class, and his path is the abundance, much like Natasha. And as far as the stats are concerned, you can see them here. Haven't really got much in terms of his crit rate and crit damage, but of course he is a healer, so something to keep in mind. He isn't much of a damage dealer, as most healers aren't, but as we'll see in the video later, you'll get to see more of his overall kit. So, kicking things off, we'll go straight into the basic attack, Thorns of the Abyss. So this deals 70% of Luocha's attack as imaginary damage to a target enemy. Pretty standard, not that much damage to be honest with you, though it is level 3 at the moment. I haven't leveled it up all the way, but not that big of a deal. He's not really massive on damage, but again, we'll get into detail much later. Here is his skill, Prayer of Abyss Flower. After using a skill, the target ally's HP will immediately be restored by 64% of Luocha's attack plus 272. Meanwhile, Luocha gains 1 stack of Abyss Flower. When the HP of the target ally is 50% or lower, Luocha will immediately use his 1 skill time on them without consuming the skill points. This effect can be triggered again when the conditions are met after Luocha takes action 2 more times. And then you have an additional bonus stat here, Cleansing Revival. Using the skill removes 1 debuff from the target ally. So a lot to read here, but pretty straightforward. Basically, you want to be stacking attack on this guy. Think of Chi-Chi from Genshin Impact, where she wants to be stacking attack to get the most healing out of her kit. So just like Luocha, it's the same concept. And what's great about him though is that he actually has a stacking system where if you can stack 3 of your maximum stacks, you'll go into a state known as the cycle of life. And the cycle of life, which we'll get into very soon, essentially allows for you to heal as you're attacking enemies, which is really, really good. So we'll get into detail as we go forward. Then his ultimate is called Death Wish. It's an AoE attack, and it deals 112% of Luocha's attack as imaginary damage to all enemies and dispels 1 enemy buff. For every enemy buff dispelled, Luocha gains 1 stack of Abyss Flower. When using his ultimate, Luocha restores additional 10 energy. So this is great. This is a little bonus ability here. This gives him a chance to restore his own energy, which is great. Just like with Natasha, it seems like healers get a chance to restore their own energy, which is awesome because you want to be able to heal on the fly whenever you need to. And he does damage, as I said. You know, this is a pretty decent scaling for his overall ultimate ability. Not necessarily the greatest, but is enough to do some damage if you invest in it. Then we have the talent. This is the cycle of life, as I mentioned earlier. When Abyss Flower is stacked 3 times, Luocha consumes all stacks to deploy a field against the enemy. When an enemy unit in the field is attacked by an ally, the ally immediately restores HP equal to 14.4% of Luocha's attack plus 61, and the field effect lasts for 2 turns. This is a big deal because 2 turns can honestly spell whether you win or you lose. And while 2 turns sounds very, very short, it is actually really, really vital. And being able to get your stacks off very quickly is one of the more fundamental ways of using Luocha. Hence why I've been saying for a lot of my videos that Blade and Luocha are a great pairing, because Blade and his talent, or rather his overall kit, he sacrifices his health to do damage. And so having Luocha next to him means that Luocha can automatically just heal Blade on the fly, allowing for his Abyss Flower to stack 3 times really quickly, and thus giving you your passive to then allow the rest of the team to heal on the fly. Then you have your technique, Mercy of a Fool. After using this technique, Luocha immediately heals an ally with the lowest HP by 50% of Luocha's max HP. So this is just your pre-battle condition. So before you engage in a battle, if one of your characters is somehow weak from a previous engagement, using Luocha can therefore heal them before they go into battle, which is really good. So now we can get into the meat and bones of his kit, which is his traces and light cone. So traces first. Ooh, I can level this up. Okay, I'll show you right here. So this is how you level things up. You can just, obtain materials, level it up, very easy. And then you get to level 4. And now I have to wait till character ascension 4 to level up the rest. But this is his basic attack. Then you have his talent, you have his skill, ultimate, and then of course your automatic technique, which is already leveled up. Then you have your sub abilities, bonus abilities, and these are what show up underneath your skill, as you've seen earlier. Then you have some attack increase, imaginary damage, some defense there. And then this one is Ascension 5 through the Valley. Damage received by Luocha from a single attack is no more than 80% of his max HP. That's pretty good. That's actually a really, really good ability to have. Just means that this guy is going to always constantly be on the field like a tank. He's not going to go anywhere. Then you've got some imaginary damage boost, which is nice. Some attack increase, HP, and then another ability, Sanctified. When using his ultimate, Luocha restores 10 energy, and that's what we read before. Really, really good. Again, being able to restore your own energy is also great, because therefore you don't have to worry too much about building on your energy restoration rate. So having this right here is also really, really good. And then your light cone. Light cone, this is his official light cones 5-star, and I only have it at super imposition 1, which is totally fine. And it states that it increases the attack of the wearer by 20% after the wearer using ultimate. That's kind of a typo there. All allies gain 16 speed for 1 turn. Additionally, for each different target the wearer attacks, recovers 5 energy. Each attack can recover energy a maximum of 3 times. So this is an excellent light cone for the likes of Luocha, just because it gives him the attack increase that he's looking for to heal, but most importantly, it gives your team speed. And being able to act faster than the enemy is of great value in the game of Honkai Star Rail. And then being able to restore your energy is also just incredible. So not only do you have that bonus ability to gain 10 energy, now you're getting it also from your light cone, which is just really nice. Then you have your Eidolons. Now I have none unlocked right now, but we'll go through them one by one. So his E1 is called Pure Bestowal. When using his skill, if the target ally's HP is lower than 50%, Luocha's outgoing healing is increased by 30%. If the target ally's HP is 50% or higher, Luocha creates a shield for them that can withstand damage equal to 15% of their max HP for 1 turn. Now, if that doesn't sound insane, then I don't know what. That is actually one of the better Eidolons in the game. Not only will you be able to heal your teammate, but now you can actually apply shields to them. So characters like, for example, Gepard or March 7th, while they are exceptionally great healers, or rather defenders for the team, Luocha can be a one-man band. He can literally heal and provide shields for the entire team, which is really, really, really good. So if you can unlock the E1 for Luocha, I would say this makes him arguably the best healer in the game, bar none. E2 is the Baptism of the Living. After using a skill, if the target ally's HP is fully restored, Luocha regenerates an additional 10 energy. So once again, he's all about energy regen, and if you can get his E2, I think that speaks for itself. You already have your skill doing, you have your bonus ability giving you energy, you have your light cone giving you energy, and if you can get E2, then you get more energy. So this makes Luocha essentially, like I said, the ultimate healer if you can unlock E2. Again, he's a 5-star, so just be aware of that. This is not going to be an easy grab for anybody, unless of course you're, you know, a massive whale, then by all means. But E1 I think is realistic, because you can easily roll for an E1 on a character and get them, but E2 onward can be really, really hard for a 5-star character. But if you can get it, great. It's more energy for you. Just makes it easier for you to pop your ultimate, get some more damage out there, and then heal the team. E3, E5, of course, as you already know, your skill and ultimate for additional boosts. And then your E4 is Judgment from Crown of Thorns. When field is active, they're talking about the Cycle of Life field, enemies become weakened, dealing 30% reduced damage. This is also a really, really strong Eidolon. Being able to reduce the damage of the enemy just makes it so much easier for you and your team to not only survive, but just take care of any threats right off the bat. And so the E4, while it's not necessarily one of the like best in the game, it certainly is up there. And if you can get the E4, then this just makes Luocha an insane character to have on the team. And E5, and then we have E6, Dust to Dust. When using ultimate, deals 100% of his attack, has additional imaginary damage to enemy targets with buffs. So this can turn Luocha into somewhat of a DPS, but not to the extent where you're using him all the time to do damage. He's just going to be, just like as I mentioned with Natasha, he's going to become more of like that combat medic where he can deal damage to the enemy, but his main responsibility on a team is to heal, and that should be his main focal point. But if you can get E6, again, if you're a massive whale, by all means do so. Natasha is probably the easier option if you wanted to be more of a combat medic, because she's a 4-star character. But if you love Luocha that bad and you want to E6 him and you have the money to do it, by all means do so. So out of all of these, I would say his E1 is really strong. His E2 is pretty good if you want more energy. And then his E6, I think, is where he can turn into a pseudo, again, combat medic if need be. And then E4, I think honestly, E1, E2, E4, I think all of his Eidolons are pretty good, because being able to weaken the enemy, reducing their damage is really, really important in Honkai Star Rail. So I'd say all of his Eidolons are pretty good, with E1 just being really, really freaking good, because yeah, being able to apply healing and giving a shield to the team is truly, truly powerful. So once you get E1, you can sit there and relax. You're good. Your team's not going anywhere. And that's about it for the Eidolons. Relics. Now, relics, I'd say this is pretty standard. You want to be focusing on building as much attack as possible. And so I have him on the 5-piece Musketeer Wild Wheat set, which, as you can see on the right-hand side, 2-piece increases attack by 15%, 5-piece additional 15. So already you're getting 30% off the jump. The 4-piece says that when the wearer uses the basic attack, increases the wearer's attack by 20% and speed by 10 for 10 turns. So we know that his basic attack is where his damage can come from, that and his ultimate, of course, but using his basic attack can increase his attack, which is great. So that gives you already a 50% increase in your attack. And then of course you have your overall substats. So as far as substats are concerned, just like with Chi-Chi, as I mentioned, you want to focus on attack. So if you can get flat attack, attack percent, you're really, really, really good. Of course, HP percent's good too. You could also go for some speed to make him faster. As far as crit rate and crit damage, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the mandatory option. It's not that important for his kit. Of course, if you can get his E6, maybe, but I think your main priority should be some speed, flat attack, attack percent, HP percent, some flat HP if necessary, but that should be where you should be focusing more of your attention. So I've gone for the attack on the feet, I've gone HP percent, then I've got imaginary damage boost. Now, sadly, in the game of Honkai right now for the closed beta, there isn't a particular set that is focused primarily on imaginary damage. So hopefully when the full game releases, we'll see an imaginary damage or an imaginary element set for us to farm, but currently in the game we don't have that. So Sag to Luocha and Welt, because they can't have their own set. So this is the only real, I guess, piece that we can use to boost his damage for imaginary damage, and that's just on his necklace. And this right now is a two-star piece, which I don't necessarily I don't have any other piece for him for this particular one, but just to kind of give you reference, this is what you want to use to give him some extra damage if need be. But you can always go attack, and then outgoing healing boost if needed, or attack if you want to go full on attack for massive heals. But I think attack, imaginary damage boost, and then outgoing healing boost can also work. And so again, much like I said before, attack percent, flat attack, some HP percent in there is always nice. And so I'm running the full 6-piece. I can probably find something better here. There's probably some imaginary damage bonus here somewhere lying around that's purple, but I don't know where it is, and I'm not going to go through it for the video. So just to kind of give you reference again, this is what you want to be focusing on. So hopefully I was giving you a closer look at Luocha and his kit, what he does for the whole team. Again, stacking on attack is always great. Giving him some HP is also great too. And his Eidolons, if you can invest in him, he can really be a great combat medic once you invest in him to all the way to E6, if you have the money to do so. If not, E1, E2, great stopping points, very, very great character. And if you can get it, his light cone is fantastic. As far as other ones are concerned, I don't know if they're really going to be fitting for him. You can probably put Natasha's on him if, let's say, you've unlocked him in the game and you don't have his light cone yet. You can always opt for Natasha's, as they're both very similar in terms of what they provide. They give you energy restoration rate and they give you outgoing healing. And then this one, I believe, is for Clara. And this one also increases, no, this is not Clara. It looks like Clara, but this is someone else's light cone. Anyway, increases the wearer's outgoing healing by 12%, and when using the skill, regens energy for all allies. So all three have very similar characteristics in that you want to be implementing more outgoing healing, but also regenerating your energy. So if you don't have the 5-star light cone, you can always opt for these ones. And there are some 3 stars as well, but not necessarily the best. I would honestly try to aim for 4-star or the 5-star if you can. And that pretty much sums up the character in a nutshell. Hopefully this is giving you a closer look at Luocha. If you do have any questions about the character, please feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. And if you loved the video and you enjoyed the content thus far for Honkai Star Rail, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And to go one step further, to support the channel and grow even more, to see more content, feel free to become a patron rather, on Patreon by visiting the link in the pinned comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you folks next time. Take care. Peace out.